Here I am at Burning Man. It's Friday. We just had a session at the temple, and I've never really done a video like this before, so I'll admit I'm a little bit nervous. I wrote down some notes just because there's a lot of information that I want to get out, so I apologize that I keep glancing down. But yeah, I felt driven to do this kind of video because I've been going through a really tough time this past year. And it's been really jarring and actually probably one of the loneliest experiences of my life. And I wanted to make this video because there just have to be other people out there going through this kind of stuff. And I find it's just not really talked about enough. So a lonely experience that's already lonely ends up feeling a lot lonelier than it needs to in a time when connecting is so important. And yeah, I don't know, maybe no one's gonna care. But I just think it's a lot more prevalent than a lot of us think, and sometimes it can just be really hard to know where to reach out in a time when you just feel so vulnerable. Yeah, so I'll try to keep this concise, but it has been a really long year. Basically, for those of you who don't know, my health has been quite bad. I injured my back last summer in Tofino. I slipped a disc in my neck. I also injured my wrist, all of which are still very prevalent in my life. My back injury has given me nerve damage and a slight knee injury. I found out I've got scoliosis in my lower back and degenerative disc disease and the beginnings of arthritis in my neck. And then I managed to get mold poisoning and was on the verge of becoming anemic. So for in a 6-month period, I threw up more days than I didn't. Yeah, and just had no appetite. I lost about 30 pounds in the span of about 2 to 3 weeks, and I'm still dealing with that nausea on a regular basis. I had headaches every day, and when I got migraines, they were hospital worthy. I was also in my final and hardest semester of my degree, so because of all this stuff and still trying to keep up my grades, I ended up getting panic attacks on the regular, and just kind of went into a deep depression I haven't really been able to get out of since. And then a little more recently, I had an old partner pass away suddenly with no real explanation, and I'm still not really sure what happened to him. And yeah, it just hit me harder. I've never had to deal with a loss quite like that before, so it hit me a lot harder than I expected. And you know, I've just also just kind of been running into just non-stop dead ends in the medical field, which is so disheartening when, you know, these people just have no idea what's going on in your body and they don't really care that much. Yeah, and although I will say I have found an incredible physio that's restored a bit of my faith and it's given me a lot of hope, so that's been like a huge help. But yeah, anyway, so there are a few other things but that I won't really get into, but that's kind of what's been going on with me. So luckily, I have an incredible partner who's just been amazing and whose support I really couldn't have done this without. But I've realized most people just really don't understand the kinds of ups and downs that come from being in constant chronic pain and just how crazy it can make you sometimes, you know. Like my life revolves around managing pain. And I feel like, you know, after 15 months, I feel like I've lost so much confidence because I feel like this pain has become my identity. And I don't really know who I am outside of this pain. And so I have all these thoughts about feeling less valuable, like you know, I feel less interesting and less funny or less use to my work, and I guess to society in general, you know. And it's just, and that, I mean, that can all lead to some pretty scary thoughts sometimes. You know, so I just feel so completely worn down and broken. You know, I used to consider myself a pretty gritty and resilient person, but now sometimes the smallest hiccups in my day can make me break down and cry, and you know, they can just destroy me or you know, stop me in my tracks. I'm a completely different person than I was 15 months ago, not really by choice. You know, I don't always love the changes that have come from this. But, so the whole point of this is that I wanted to share a few of the things that have helped me really take a big step in beginning to heal. The biggest thing actually being specifically focusing on how things could be worse. And this has kind of become my path to gratitude. You know, because I kind of found at the beginning, and even now, lots of people just tell you to be grateful. They just say, just be grateful. And it's, I would sometimes feel like slapping them in the face, because they very obviously were not going through what I was going through. And although their intention and heart was in the right place, I felt like it belittled my experience, and it oversimplifies everything that I've been going through. But when I looked at it as how could my life be worse, I would say, okay, I could be living in a war zone and be fearing for my life every day. I could be living in the States and have absolutely no health care whatsoever. And yeah, this was a much more effective way for me to get to gratitude. Because that's what I've really found is really the ticket to pushing yourself back up from the bottom. Gratitude really is everything, but some days it's work, and some days you'll want to hate the world, but one day you'll look back and it's a gradual change that you'll see over time, and it really does make such a huge difference. But you just have to find kind of your avenue to get there. And you know, it's also a lot of the things that you kind of hear about all the time, but it's like, how are you spending your time? Who are you hanging out with? Are you exercising? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating healthy? This was a really, and still is a really big one for me. Are you putting time aside for the things that you want to do and not that you have to do? Yeah. All of these things kind of get overlooked, and maybe because it takes time for them to work, or it usually can be the harder option, or for, you know, whatever the reason. But these like super simple things are completely within your control and will do nothing but help you, probably more than you'd think too. And I mean, you know, there are a lot of other things that can help too, like art and music and spending time in nature, but I might just kind of leave it there. I have learned so much this past year, but I still feel like I have a mountain to climb with all of this stuff. And I would really love to chat with people who have been through this experience, who, you know, at any stage, people who have come out the other side and have, you know, some lessons they can offer, or people that are just starting out and feel completely lost. I would love to chat with you. I feel like we need to just be more supportive with each other about this stuff. Like, we don't have to be alone. And if one thing at visiting the temple at Burning Man and being here has taught me, is that almost everybody, so many people are going through these hard times and just don't know how to reach out. You know, nothing worthwhile is ever easy. There's a quote that I always come back to, which is, we can't control the events, but we can choose what to focus on, we can choose what things mean, and we can choose what to do. Those three choices, those three decisions really control our life. And I really, really agree with that. So anyways, if you made it this far in the video, I thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. This was a really vulnerable thing for me. Quite intimidatingly vulnerable. So thank you, and yeah, just stay strong. I love all you guys. Bye.